fans, before the next match gets started, just a quick programming note. Obviously, tonight's Supercard means there won't be an edition of Snarl for November 29th. But our next regular card will be RWL Rage, which will be Monday night, December 1st.
And our next regularly scheduled edition of Snarl will start Saturday night, December the 6th, and we sure look forward to your joining us for those as we wend our way towards the Memphis Billion at the end of the month.
Right now, let's take a little trip back in time.
The crowd here in Dallas just about losing it, because here comes Title-Toni Storm.
She promised she'd show up tonight, and she was as good as her word. She's totally got her sights set on the Joyce Grable Memorial title, and man alive, this meeting with Liberty Belle Danielle before their match next week at Black Friday. It's likely to be colorful in the extreme, much like Toni Storm herself.
Storm earned that #1 contender spot earlier this month, surviving an encounter with 7 other opponents to make it here. But I don't think Danielle is used to an opponent that just wants pure competition. Instead of the usual, I hate you and want to rip your guts out.
You're pretty quiet, Tex, honestly. What do you think about all this?
I think it's been about as colorful a birthday as you could dream up. I can't wait to see what these two got to say for themselves.
I should tell you straight away, I've made quite the study of you, and you are, without question, an extraordinary talent. After all, no one becomes a ladies' Triple Crown champion if they aren't an extraordinary talent. You might not know this about me, but I am something of a historian on ladies wrestling. And who, would you think, would be one of my favorite subjects?
Haven't got a clue, but I'm sure you're going to tell me, aren't you?
What do you truly know about Joyce Grable? Without descending into personal attacks, I'll just say that I'm far more knowledgeable on the history of the woman whose name graces that Memorial Tournament Championship. And I think that makes me eminently more qualified to wear that title than you are.
Okay, so you've got some knowledge, but what really matters, Toni? I fought through a seriously tough tournament to get the title, and since then, no one's been able to get it away from me. You know, knowledge is a great thing, but all you really need to know is, I'm not parting with the belt, not for you, or anyone else, regardless of how much you know about Joyce Grable. You're not going to be facing Joyce at Black Friday. You're going to be facing me, and this belt has some serious meaning for me, even if I didn't know all that stuff about her.
I admire your spunk, Danielle, and I think our match next week will define for everyone who's more deserving of being Joyce Grable Memorial Champion. And it's like I told you 2 weeks ago, I'm going to pop your cherry on the 28th, and I intend to leave you weak, exhausted, and lying in a pool of your own sweat, and trust me, love, it will be an intimate experience that you'll never forget for as long as you live. I'm quite good at that. You can ask anyone.
You've got a great sense of humor, Toni. And while I think that's great, there's not going to be any cherry popping at Black Friday, but there might just be a whole lot of Title-Toni Storm tapping out to me. And I think maybe we should just stop right there. I'm glad to see you're reliable when it comes to showing up. See you next week, and we'll just see who's more eminently qualified to hold that title.
Oh God, look at this here Title-Toni Storm displaying an almost encyclopedic knowledge of Joyce Grable. And I don't think Danielle was entirely too impressed, but next week at Black Friday is going to be as off the chain as it comes.
And all of that brings us to tonight, a title match that has been in the making for several weeks as Title-Toni Storm challenges Liberty Belle Danielle Heathcote for the Joyce Grable Memorial Championship.
This next match, set for one fall, with a 15-minute time limit, is for the RWL Joyce Grable Memorial Championship.
Boy, I'll tell you, a lot of people looking forward to this particular match.
Well, if you grew up in New York City like I did, you recognize the theme from Gone with the Wind as the theme from WOR Television's $1 Million Movie every night of the week.
And it's kind of a fitting theme for Toni Storm with that whole Hollywood glamour thing she's got going.
Timeless Toni Storm is one of the hottest, most popular women in the pro wrestling world today, blazing herself quite the trail at All Elite Wrestling, where she's a former AEW Women's Champion. We've had her grace our own RWL rings a time or two, like her match in London over the summer against Mercedes Moné. But tonight she's got her sights set on the Joyce Grable Memorial title. And she sure does know quite a bit about Grable herself. But as Danielle Heathcote pointed out at Snarl last week, knowing ain't even half the battle. Liberty Belle Danielle's got 3 titles for herself. But the JGM title is by far the one she values most.
Danielle won that title in the JGM tournament and has never let it fall into anyone else's hands over the last 2 years. So Tex, as her fellow choice, I guess you know a little about what's going through her mind about this confrontation with Toni Storm.
You know the same things I do, Wally. American Powers lost the Women's World Tag Team Championships to Power and Beauty over the summer. And yeah, that stung her. And it messed things up between her and Patty for a little while, but everything's back on track now. But she would just, the thought of her losing that Joyce Grable title would just be entirely too traumatic for her and for me, because I'd have to deal with the mess.
Well, on the lighter side of the argument, Toni Storm has certainly been trying to wrong foot Danielle Heathcote with her character, speaking constantly in innuendo and double entendre, suggesting that she's going to pop Liberty Belle Danielle's cherry. And well, somebody else pick this up, please.
Yeah, it's true. Toni Storm has got a way of making people blush, and I suppose she made Danielle Heathcote blush just a little bit. But as far as that Joyce Grable Championship goes, she is not willing to let it go without a fight, and we're going to see one right here tonight.
Toni's way with words, dirty ones in particular, is one of her better psychological ploys. And it's one of the things that has made her mad popular with fans. But if Danielle's serious about hanging on to the JGM title, she's gotta ignore all that noise.
The challenger from the Gold Coast of Australia, here is timeless Toni Storm. Her opponent from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, she's an RWL Triple Crown champion and the reigning Joyce Grable Memorial champion, All-American Liberty Belle Danielle Heathcote.
Boy, I'll tell you, my palms are sweating, my mouth is dry. I don't know whether it's from the excitement of this upcoming match or hanging out in your truck, Tex.
Maybe a little bit of both, Myron. But there it is, the Joyce Grable Memorial title means more to Danielle than anything in the whole wide world except maybe me. Man, that crowd is going crazy. Well, now, what a matchup we've got going here. Let's see how it all shakes out. As referee Tom Canamora sounds the bell, they come center ring. They lock it up, collar and elbow. Danielle, countered by Toni Storm into a DDT. Storm with a Hurricane Rana on Danielle. Toni Storm goes behind, drops an elbow across the chest of Liberty Belle Danielle. One elbow to the face, down she goes. There's a stomp to the midsection, followed up with a stomp to the shoulder. A little bit of showboating here from Toni Storm. Well, that's to be expected. Storm makes her way to the top far left turnbuckle. Danielle's laid out, and there's a big-time crossbody. Here's a pin attempt. 1, 2. A near fall. Pretty early on. Oh, man. Here's a kick to the midsection from Toni Storm. A rebound off the ropes and a neck breaker to Danielle. Followed up with a stomp to the back. Double boot stomp right to the midsection. A kick to the chest. Danielle quickly back up on her feet. Toni Storm with a wheelbarrow jawbreaker. Oh, man. Storm drops an elbow on the leg, starts raining knuckles on the knee of Liberty Belle Danielle. Storm goes for another pin. 1. Just a 1 that time. Danielle kicking out of the pin. Toni Storm Definitely looking smug in the early goings here. Drop toe hold from Danielle. Stretching the legs of Toni Storm. Storm turns it over. Tags Danielle with a couple of shots. Gets herself loose from the hold. Toni Storm with a couple of rights. A left. Has her up over the shoulder. Slams her down. Oh, man. Danielle makes her way to a standing position in the corner. Toni Storm right there waiting for her. There's a boot right to the throat. Toni Storm, real aggressive here. Gets a hold of Danielle by the ankles. Alley-oops her out of the corner. Toni Storm misses with the crossbody. Danielle tags her with a right across the head. Tags her with a second one. Stuns her. Goes behind on her. And there's a German suplex. Danielle finally starting to mount some offense here. She locks up with Toni Storm. Whips her over the top rope out onto the apron. There's a hard right hand and a drop kick that puts Toni Storm out on the floor on the outside. Referee's already counting. Danielle gonna follow her on out, start the count all over again. Toni Storm drives her into the ring steps. Whoa, man. Timeless Toni Storm hurls Danielle to the opposing side of the ring, misses with the elbow. Danielle quickly back up on her feet. Another drop toe hold on the outside, another leg stretch to Toni Storm. Toni Storm again turns it over, tags Danielle with a couple of rights and gets herself loose from the hold. Both ladies back up on their feet. Toni Storm slams Danielle's head into the apron. Rounds her up. Danielle quickly makes her way back inside the ring, followed closely by Toni Storm. Danielle catches a drop toe hold of her own. Toni Storm retaliating with a leg stretch of her own. And Danielle turns it around on Toni Storm. Oh, man. Both ladies back up to a standing position. Hard right spins Toni Storm around. Danielle goes behind on her. Gets a hold of her. Nice suplex from Liberty Bell Danielle. Danielle with a flip over neck whip on Toni Storm. And a little bit of showboating from Danielle, who's apparently not feeling too bad. Toni Storm whipped to the ropes. Here she comes. Danielle goes behind on her. Suplex with a pin and a bridge. One. Two. Oh, man, just a one. Toni Storm gets herself back to a standing position. Danielle right there waiting for her. Winds up the arm on her. Gets her down on the mat. There's a stomp to the shoulder. Liberty Bell Danielle with a stomp to the back of Toni Storm. Dragging her face down towards the center of the ring. Toni Storm rolls to the ropes, gets herself stood up again. Danielle right there waiting for her. And starts bouncing her off the ropes with hard forearms to the back. Danielle goes behind on her, gets a hold of her, double arm suplex to Toni Storm. Danielle catches an elbow to the midsection from Toni Storm. A snap suplex to Danielle. Danielle quickly counters another drop toe hold back into that leg stretch. She's wearing her out for a possible submission, but too close to the ropes, has to start all over again. An elbow drop across the chest of Toni Storm. Toni Storm makes her way back into the ring after a quick reset, a couple of kicks, goes behind on Danielle, German release suplex. As Danielle rolls to the outside, Storm takes herself to the top far right turnbuckle, a fist drop to Danielle on the outside with the referee already counting. Toni Storm with another forearm to Danielle. Oh, man, this match is going to be a ride and a half right here. Toni Storm winds up the leg on Danielle and snaps it. Is working on those lower limbs. Toni Storm rolls Danielle back inside the ring. Follows her on in herself. Danielle back up. Gets a hold of Storm. Whips her to the ropes. Makes the duck under. And woo! Nice wraparound neckbreaker. Here's a pin dead center ring. 1, 2. Another near fall. Again, the Joyce Grable Memorial title hanging in the balance on this one. Storm quickly rolls up, crossbody to Danielle. Here's a pin and a hook of the leg. 1, 2, and another near fall in this matchup. Wow. Toni Storm takes herself up to the top middle rope. Boom! Oh, fist drop. Right to the face of Danielle. There's a stomp to the back of the head. Toni Storm gets a hold of the leg and snaps it. Neither one of these ladies is giving an inch right here. Here's a stomp to the back. Double boot stomp to the midsection. A kick to the chest. Danielle makes her way to the corner. Toni Storm puts the boot to the throat of Liberty Bell Danielle. The Timeless One stalking Danielle Heathcote here as she takes herself to the middle rope again and takes the dive and misses with the elbow. Danielle quickly up. There's a drop kick. Takes Toni Storm down to the canvas. Danielle flips her over and sets up a nasty stretch. Stretching the back and the legs of Toni Storm. Probably working towards a submission somewhere down the road. Toni Storm against the ropes. A chop across the chest from Danielle, who drapes the leg over the middle rope. Starts playing tug of war with Toni Storm's leg. Danielle locks her up. Belly to belly suplex. Down goes Toni Storm. Danielle rounds her up again. Gets a hold on her. Pitches her towards the ropes. Oof! Kitchen sink knee to the gut for Toni Storm. Liberty Bell Danielle dragging Toni Storm towards center. Danielle winds up the arm on her. Snaps the arm. Follows it up with a stomp to the leg. Toni Storm shoves her back. And the momentum has shifted back and forth like Hollywood romances here. Another knee to the midsection to Toni Storm from Danielle Heathcote, who is definitely rallying the fans here in Austin. She is determined to hang on to that JGM title. Winds up the arm on Toni. There's a kick to the ribs. Liberty Bell Danielle finally with the momentum on her side in this one. There's a kick to the leg. Liberty Bell Danielle again dragging Toni Storm as close to center ring as she can get her. Winds up the arm on Toni Storm and snaps it one more time. Oh, okay. Liberty Bell Danielle sets up the sharpshooter. Here's a possible submission. Toni Storm not close enough to the ropes to make a break. Danielle releases the hold. And Toni Storm is motionless. And so one more time, Liberty Bell Danielle drags Toni Storm towards center ring. Here we go. She's setting up the crossface. We could see a tap out right here. Oh man, she's got it locked in, stretching Toni Storm for all she is worth. Releases the hold again. Toni Storm looking like she's in all kinds of pain right about now. Danielle grappled by Toni Storm. Whipped to the ropes. Swing and a miss by Toni Storm. Danielle ducks out of the way. Pitches her over the top rope out onto the floor, and here she goes in hot pursuit. Liberty Bell Danielle definitely feeling it now. There's a stomp. Toni Storm counters with a kick, gets back up, gets a hold of Danielle. Rolls her back inside the ring. Timeless Toni Storm charges. There's another wheelbarrow jawjacker to Danielle Heathcote. Danielle in the far left corner. Toni Storm right there waiting for her. Playing a game of tug of war with Danielle's arm. A chop across the chest. Timeless Toni Storm smashes Danielle's head into the turnbuckle. Rounds her up over the shoulder. Hangs her up in the tree of woe. Oh man. Neither one of these ladies is playing any games here. Toni Storm up on the top rope and a double boot stomp to the chest from the tree of woe position. Here's another cover. 1, 2. Nope, just a one, says Tom Canamora. Toni Storm goes to work on the head and neck of Liberty Bell Danielle. In this match, we got about 3.5 minutes left to go. A blatant choke from Timeless-Toni Storm. Misses with the double boot stomp. Danielle quickly back up. Delivers a set of shots to Toni Storm. And there's a quick Hurricane Rana, taking Storm down to the mat. Another flip over neck whip from Danielle Heathcote. Toni Storm quickly making her way up to the standing position from the ropes. And Danielle blatantly choking her with the rope. Well, all politeness is gone now. There's another drop toe hold and another stretching of the legs for Timeless-Toni Storm. Referee checking it out, but Toni Storm turns it around, and another set of shots to Danielle disengages the hold. Both ladies to a stand. Ooh, a running spear takes her down. Here's another cover. 1, 2. Danielle wisely reaching out for that bottom rope. Toni Storm's got to start from 0. Timeless-Toni Storm dragging Danielle towards center ring. Danielle quickly making her way to the corner and out onto the apron. Toni Storm follows her on out. Danielle takes her down off the apron, catches a shot to the midsection from Toni Storm, quickly rolls back up. A hard right spins Toni Storm around on the outside, and a Russian leg sweep. Narrowly approaching the ramp, Liberty Bell Danielle, indicating to the fans that she's okay. Well, thank goodness for that. An armbar stretch to Toni Storm from Liberty Bell Danielle. 2 minutes left to go. Well, something's got to give soon. Danielle with a cravat suplex to Toni Storm. Liberty Bell Danielle gathers Toni Storm up, and a brainbuster on the outside, on the floor. There's a kick to the chest. Danielle might be trying to wear her out on the outside. Toni Storm counters with both boots, gets back up to a standing position, gets a hold of Danielle Heathcote. Another forearm takes Danielle down to the floor. Toni Storm, locked up by Danielle, rolls back inside the ring. Danielle makes her way back in. The count is over. There's a stomp to the back. An elbow drop to the chest of Toni Storm by Danielle Heathcote. Liberty Bell Danielle one more time with the flip over neck whip. Toni Storm catching all kinds of hell right about now with less than a minute to go. Well, this one's been an intense ride. Toni Storm out on the apron. Danielle tags her with a right, joins her on the apron, and drops her on the lip of the apron, crashing to the floor. Misses with the rolling elbow. Toni Storm quickly back up. Less than 30 seconds to go. Danielle pitched to the opposing side of the ring. An elbow drop from Toni Storm. Toni rounds her up. Gets a hold of Danielle by the hair. Rolls her back inside the ring. Less than 15 seconds to go. Toni Storm locked up by Liberty Bell Danielle. A hard whip to the ropes. A kitchen sink knee to the gut. And Danielle quickly going for the pin with 2 seconds to go. And oh man, I don't believe it.
The time limit has expired, and referee Tom Kanamura has declared this match a time limit draw. No cantes.
Well, it was a great match, and the title don't change hands. This thing between them is going to be far from settled. Oh boy. Our main event when we return right after this.